Kelly, I went on a trip today. And today, the day we're recording this, not necessarily the day you guys are watching this, but you get it.
Yeah,
I
it's
went
not
on a
like
trip.
the "Hey man, I went on a trip today" thing, right? You done
No, no,
done,
no.
dude.
Physically on a map. So let me explain the state of Pennsylvania to everybody out there. As a ghetto cartographer, Philadelphia, it's on the far end of the state. So we were traveling to southern PA today, which is right on the border with Maryland. So I started looking up anytime I travel anywhere nowadays, I look up record stores and retro game stores in the area. It just so happened there was a retro game store in Maryland, right over the border, near where we were, called Outlaw Video Games. So there was a few videos of them on YouTube, so I kind of learned a little bit about the history of the place. There is a car place next to it, not like a car dealership, like an auto parts place next to it. The owner of that store is really into video games, so he opened up a video game like room in there, and that got bigger and bigger, and now it's its own location directly next door to the auto parts store. So I sent Kelly a picture of what was the front door for it, but now they've expanded it again. So they are going to try and recreate that on their new front door because that's just kind of an unused entrance now. But I went there, I got to meet the owner. He happened to be there and bought a few games while I was there. And I will say, if you're in Maryland or you're near that area, it's really impressive. It's not a huge store, but it's got a good selection of games. It's not just the expected Nintendo, Genesis kind of stuff. There were some Atari games there. They had a good selection of Master System games. There was even some Saturn and Sega CD stuff. Uh, there was even a few TurboGrafx 16 games. Now, it wasn't quite the selection of something like Classic Game Junkie, where you can find Virtual Boy and CDI and all kinds of weird stuff there. So, not quite that far, but really solid selection. And I bought quite a few things that I was in the market for. So, I'll show those to you guys because I love using props. I got, and I believe Kelly owns this as well. It is the Pokemon pinball game for Game Boy
That's it
Color.
too. Yep.
Yeah, and this has the Rumble Pack, as you can see. Now, I've come across this game a bunch of times before, but it's always missing the battery door on here. And the owner actually mentioned that people are constantly telling him whenever they come in and pick up one of these Rumble Pack games that they never find them with the battery doors. So he said he always makes sure he buys copies with the door, or if he has broken games that have the door, he'll take the doors off because they're all the same color and use those to replace them on working games. So he put a battery in it and he also replaced the save battery inside of this for me.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so this was in great shape. And it was about the same cost as what I found it with the missing battery door before. So solid cost and all that extra work with it. So can't complain there. Another game I've been looking for, again, a game I've come across numerous times, but usually in terrible shape. We talked a little bit about the contentious relationship between Atari and Nintendo. Well, before then, when they were friends, some of the beloved Nintendo characters popped up on the 2600, and 7800. This is Mario Brothers for 2600. I've come across this game before, but usually in terrible shape. And this is not in the best shape. There's some scuffs and stuff on there, but as you can see, it looks pretty good, all things considered. Honestly, this is the kind of shape you'd expect a probably close to 40-year-old game to be in at this point. And normally, though, when I come across these, it looks like a dog ate it and threw it back up. Whereas this looks pretty good. And it was the same price as what I find the terrible looking ones for. So again, solid price, great
That
condition for the
that
game.
7800 or 2600.
This is the 2600 version of
Okay.
the game.
I've got a Mario. Is that Mario Brothers or is that?
Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that too. Well, the label looks different, I think. I'll have to go back and see on that. So that's a second.
Okay. Yeah, and I believe it was released for 5200 and 7800 as well for this. So But this was happier times between Nintendo and I've been looking for this because this is one of those games that even though Atari has been reissuing their catalog and done the amazing 50th collection and all that kind of stuff, this is not going to appear on any of that. Atari and Nintendo hate each other now after years of fights and lawsuits and things like that. And you're really just not going to see reissues a lot of licensed characters and games anyway. You're seeing the Atari properties or Atari adjacent properties being reissued, not something like Mario Brothers. So I've been wanting to pick that up, just like I had recently picked up Porky's and Alien for it as well, because you're not going to see those licensed titles popping up. The third and last thing that I got is a game called Urban Champion for NES. And first, I want to show it came with the dust jacket,
Nice.
which is kind of cool. So I haven't seen one of these in a while. Um, Urban Champion is another one I have come across before, usually in bad shape. And I've seen prices all over the place for this one. And I think it's because it's not a super common game, although it was reissued on Virtual Console and different things for the Wii and I believe 3DS as well. It's not super common, but I also don't think it's super sought after either. So the price seems just like whatever they make up at the time. So this was pretty reasonably priced. This game isn't great, but I'm a big fighting game fan. It's an early one-on-one fighting game. It's the first that was ever published by Nintendo and one of only a few that's on an NES.
Very cool. Um, so going back to the beginning of the conversation, aren't all ends of Philadelphia or Pennsylvania the far ends of Philadelphia?
Well, we're
That's
we're we're on the border on our side. So we're on the far side. So Philadelphia and so think of it as Philadelphia and Pittsburgh bookending the state of Pennsylvania. So we're all the way on one side of the state. In fact, the highway that it took us down, even though our actual destination was still in Pennsylvania, we ended up driving into Delaware and then back into Pennsylvania just because of the way the highway took us. So we hit three different states today just to go to one place. But hit up a video game store and I did pretty well. And again, these were all reasonably priced. So even though I spent a lot of money because I bought three games, they were individually, they were all reasonably priced.
now is did you pitch us becoming the official podcast of Outlaw Games?
No, no, but I did mention Slapdash to them, and I was looking for something for you as well because they had a lot of Rumble packs there. So I immediately asked if they had the Rumble pack with the memory card slot so that I could pick one up for you if they had it. He said no, he has seen them though. He said they come into the shop fairly regularly, but they never work. He said he's never gotten a working one that came in. And he said one of the problems with them isn't even corrosion. He said people leave the batteries in and they corrode. He said a lot of times he can replace it or clean it and that. He said, but those get rusted really easily, the boards on the inside. And he said even if you clean off the rust, the damage is usually done at that point on those.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident I had two of them, and they both went the way of left the battery in too long. Yeah, for you Oculus users out there, don't leave the batteries in your controllers because um, if that corrodes, it's very hard to clean and get to work since already some of the contacts are a little fussy anyway on it, and you can't buy one. And if you're looking to buy a replacement hand controller for one of those virtual reality games, they only systems they only sell them in pairs, and so basically you'll be paying about $10 less than an entire new system than to get replacement hands. So don't do that. uh, Store everything in rice and take the batteries out still because it's just bad. Super bad. Yeah, I'm still so bummed I lost those because it's just so sweet. Had kind of multiple slots for the memory thing. It was a rumble pack. It was so cool. But that's all right. Yeah, and I'm kicking myself because we've got a mega replay video place near us, and I was unloading some of my old stuff, and this was pre Slapdash, pre doing a lot of Game Boy conversations, and there were a few Game Boy cartridges kicking around that I was like, I can get rid of this. And there was a NASCAR with the rumble pack and the battery deal. And I said, I don't, seems cool, but I'm not going to use that. And it's a different world now. I would really wish I hadn't done that. Maybe their inventory doesn't move and I can go back and rebuy it and get it back. But yeah, I do have the pinball one. So that's pretty cool. So excellent. Yeah, so highly recommend. Maybe someday he'll be a sponsor of the show. How big is the edition? Is it how would you describe it? Is it a 7-Eleven size? Is it a
Yeah, maybe about a 7-Eleven size.
okay.
Probably a little smaller than that, but a decent size. It's got again a good and it's good use of space. They really pack a lot of games into there. It's not quite as big. So closer to me in PA here is Classic Game Junkie. It's not quite as big as Classic Game Junkie, and no place that I'm aware of has quite the selection that they do because they just have an odds and ends mix of all kinds of from Commodore 64 to current systems. So, I mean, there's all kinds of interesting things you can pick up there randomly. But this was all the main systems you'd expect, as well as some of the outliers. So it was a pretty good selection.
Cool. Good to hear. Well, if you get a chance, we'll include a link. I assume they have a website. We include a link
Yes.
to that, and so you folks can check it out. And if you happen to be uh, traveling from the far side of Philadelphia or the far side of another state, uh, you can check them out. So I wouldn't our Mega Replay. It's I think it's more of a chain. They actually have it's also very diverse. There's all sorts of things. They have usually a fairly large number of gaming consoles of various types. Lots of pop figures. That seems to be a big thing. Comic books, um, and so they have a few albums as well. So they've got like a lot of stuff there. But the big thing is the uh, the gaming system stuff, and particularly skewing a little bit more towards Xbox and the various PlayStations. But that it's okay. But it sounds like Outlaw Games is the place to go. So thumbs up for them. Speaking of thumbs up, maybe you should subscribe to the Bug Panda channel.
That was
We
an excellent
greatly,
transition.
there you go, super smooth. We greatly appreciate it if you do that. And then do that thumbs up on the video. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies. We don't care. Just share it. So, um, that's all I got for today. How about you, sir?
No, I think that's it.
Cool.
Again, the prices were good. I really appreciate the attention to detail, like a new battery
That's
and a new
fantastic.
save battery. Yeah, and like I said, I've come across this multiple times, never with the actual battery door though.
Cool. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.